Hey, good morning, Facebook. It's Jerry coming to you today from Rythmia in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. It's nice to be with everybody. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. I went home to see my mother in Pennsylvania. I had a wonderful time seeing all my kids, Jerry, Patrick, and Tegan, my sisters, my niece Zavi. We had a wonderful time. It was amazing. I hope your Christmas and New Year's was beautiful. And we're talking to you today. This is My Cup is Full number 3. Huh? Toolbox Essentials number 3. And a little bit about where we're coming to you from. We're coming to you from the Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. It's a really, really, really unique place that blends all kinds of modalities into something called a soul merger. And we attract people from all over the world come here and make it a pilgrimage. We've just an amazing history. We're coming up on having our 16,000th guest, which means that we've hosted over 64,000 individual plant medicine experiences. More, we believe, than anybody in the history of the world. And so we've got to know a little bit about it over that time. What's unique about Rythmia? Again, we're coming up on 16,000 guests. 97.85% say they had a life-changing miracle during their stay. 90.28% say that 6 months later, at the 6-month mark, 90.28% say this was the week that changed their life. And because of this, we attract all kinds of amazing people from all over the world. We attract billionaires and movie stars and professional athletes and actors and actresses and business people and entrepreneurs and normal people just like you and me. And they all come here and they have this amazing experience. I suggest you book your trip now to come to Rythmia. It just keeps getting better and better and better. And the experience keeps getting better and better and better. Because of this, we put together an amazing board of directors who've all been here, all have experienced the program, and all wanted to get involved. Who are they? It's Ron White, the comedian, Jack Canfield, the author, holds the Guinness Book of World Records for books sold. Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of Agape. Martin Luther King III, the son of Martin Luther King and the spiritual rights activist himself. Tony Coe from the Forbes 100. Kelly Slater, the greatest surfer of all time, and more. Earl Koski. We have Dr. Jeff, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some people who are on there that are great. But that kind of board of directors that has been here, experienced this program, and wanted to become part of it. There really is something unique going on here. Now, toolbox essentials, what's needed for manifesting success. The first thing, I just want to talk about the holiday. During this holiday time, the first thing that I like to do each and every year between Christmas and New Year's or right after is to make sure that I have no grudges. So I really search my soul for people that I'm holding a grudge against, and I have none. That allows me the freedom to manifest going forward. And we're going to talk about the first key of this manifestation. And that, if you take a look at the people that have things, and what I mean by people that have things, I mean people that have a tremendous career or hit records or a huge business or whatever. And I get to know a lot of them. I have a lot of friends that have been extremely successful, and they all have something in common. They have an action item, that they are people who take action. So Why do most people not take action is because they want an immediate response. People that don't take action generally don't take it because they've learned their immediate action does not generate an immediate response. But as soon as you have this merger and you want to become a beneficial presence on the planet, you make a decision to become a beneficial presence, things change and you look at things in realistic timeframes. So what does that mean? For most people, it's 10 years. And when I say that, a lot of people are shocked, but it's the truth. And I got to tell you this, 10 years is the inside. So of the 5 billionaires-ish who I'm friendly with, the 2 that have done the greatest work have sold their companies at about the 30-year mark. 30 years, right? 30 years. So I've always, in the past, have liquidated my holdings in companies in under 10 years. This company it's our 7th full operating year this year. And I tend to only last 10 years, but my time horizons were off because you obtain mastery in about 10 years. And then from mastery, that's when you can really start making improvements in either stacking money or making a difference. So this company I plan to keep till the very end. I hope I can make it 30 years. Yeah. So why, how does that affect you? What can you learn from this? Well, the first thing is, if you make your expectations more realistic, action is easier, right? So it's not the determinants for success are not these bold actions, right? Maybe the tennis match only lasts a few hours and it's the apex, but the training before that is years and years and years. It's the things we do every day, the little actions we take every day that stack up to the big thing when it occurs, right? So what are the little actions? Because we're in New Year's. What are the little actions? Well, the first thing is getting up, right? And the second thing, generally speaking, is having some type of spiritual practice, which can be proactive prayer. It can be meditation, yoga, breath work, whatever your thing is. But if you commit to it, and this is your thing, I get up, I have this practice, and then I have movement. And movement is the activity of doing something, whether it's walking. Right now, believe it or not, I have a broken elbow that's getting operated on in January, in the middle of January. So all I'm doing is walking, but I'm trying to make sure that I get my 10,000 steps a day in. And it's part of my promise that I made to myself about my action. Now, 10,000 steps a day is not going to make me the fittest person in 6 months, but in 6 years, it will, right? So if we look at everything, and the thing is, when we have this soul merger, we tend to move from the liability side of the balance sheet to the asset side. Instead of taking, we look at giving. Instead of what's in it for me, it's what can I do for them. This shift changes, and in that change, our time horizon changes. So in that change, when you're in it for gratification, it's the next hit, the next orgasm, the next drunkenness, the next spending on something shiny, the next hit. And then when we shift that to over here, it's a longer horizon. It's a longer horizon. We're not looking for the next hit. We're looking for the big hit. The big hit is self-fulfillment, right? It's not sustained ecstasy. It is self-fulfillment. It's feeling the feeling of being full, and fully connected and participating in part of it. And that is a much longer horizon than the short, quick fix, right? So when we structure ourselves for success, we do it in this little bite, one bite at a time kind of attitude. So that then lengthens our horizon and allows us to take little action. When we look at doing these great things and we don't break them down into the littlest point, we become inactive because the task looks too big. It looks way too big. It looks too big for us. It looks like there's no way that we can do it. But if we lengthen that horizon and we know that little bit every day and we start to get into the activity of doing the little bit, then the next thing you know, the joy that's experienced from the respect of yourself because you were able to get up and start this activity is self-perpetuating, right? That feeling wants you to feel more of it. So what do we end up doing? We end up walking a little bit further, lifting a little more weight, practicing a little longer if we're in the arts of any type, and practicing a little longer, fine-tuning our skills a little more every day, day after day, time after time. And then all of a sudden, we start to see results. And we'll start to see results in little ways. And then in this process of years, all of a sudden, momentum starts to build. And when people see that you are not phased, you are going down your path to become a beneficial presence on the planet in your way, and you are not quitting no matter what anybody says. Uncle Tom, Aunt Marie, mom, dad, the boyfriend, the wife, the neighbor, the teacher, no matter what they say, that you're not going to be talked out of it. And there's something called definiteness of purpose. It's in how you walk, how you speak, and how you think. Then all things, because we live in a vibrational world, all things that are vibrating like that tend to surround you in the form of an eddy and actually propel you forward. This thing happens. And how do I know it happens? Because it's happened to me on more than one occasion where I own companies and I just stuck to it and stuck to it and stuck to it. And the next thing you know, I had this feeling of flow, that I was being carried in a way that I couldn't comprehend. So it happens, but it only happens when you prove your definiteness of purpose. Because what happens is you can fake it till you make it, but your vibration of what you're sending, when you don't believe it, it vibrates differently. But once you believe it, and this is the belief and this is the action, is that I'm going to continue no matter what happens. I'm going to continue no matter what happens. Once you say that and mean it, you send something to the universe, and those people, things, circumstances, events that want to assist you fall in behind you and start pushing you. It happens, and it's amazing when it does happen, but it does happen. So why then do people start something and have this activity and then quit? I believe that most of them have done that because the thing that they picked to become a beneficial presence over wasn't picked from a wholesome or centered part within themselves. In other words, I want to get this great promotion so I can prove to my neighbors I can buy a newer car. That's not the place. The place is I picked this because I've aligned with myself. I've merged with myself. That doesn't make you perfect. That just makes you merged. And I want to become a beneficial presence on the planet. This is how I see myself becoming a beneficial presence. And this is the action I must take in order to get there. That's how not to quit. If any of those things are off kilter, and I know I call them sprinters. Sprinters are people that they start something new, they run hard at it, And right before it gets easy, they quit because it's always the hardest right before it's the easiest. It's all, and they are constantly quitting. Now, the people that know this know it about business, but it works in all facets of the life. The hardest phase of a business is startup. And so there's excitement in startup. And then after the excitement diminishes, and I say startup lasts 6, 7 years, the hardest is in that phase when the excitement is over and the work is present and things are going against you. And that's when people quit, and they're always in startup. I know 60-year-olds, because I'm 60. I know 60-year-olds that have been starting businesses and failing in them for 40 years. Every like 4 years, starting something else, it fails. Something else, it fails. Something else, it fails. And it's that they didn't stick to it. They didn't take the longer term action. So I'm going to tell you that, and this is generally speaking, the business you have, however rough shape it might be in a particular moment, is almost always better than the next business you're going to start. That the universe rewards stickability. It rewards all the things that are kind of uncommon right now, sticking to things, doing so because of honor and ethics and following through on your word. Those are all things that are out of favor, but they are all things that assist the action taker. So when you sit there with a realistic time frame, and you know that this thing is going to take 10 years, you're going to start your nonprofit business, and it's going to take 10 years to change the world, and that's all cool. You have the realistic expectation of time. You're taking action every day. Those are the kinds of things that really work out. I have a friend who's a wonderful doctor that runs the oldest Black nonprofit in the world, started by Booker T. Washington. He's an amazing guy. He looks at things in forms of decades, and he plays chess, not checkers, and he's brilliant. But we do it every day. We get up, we do the thing, we do that, and we take action. So I'm going to tell you that your greatest dreams mean nothing. Your greatest commitments and New Year's resolutions mean nothing without taking proper action. And you got to take action each and every day. That is my message for you to go into 2024. Next week, we'll be doing number 4 of these. We look forward to seeing you at Rythmia. Please buy my books if you would like to. This is a great book about manifesting, right? And this was the story of Rythmia. So please buy them, and we will see you next week. Until that time, God keep you, God bless you, God hold you.